Hello. Well, I just wanted to take some time to film a video on how I make my basketball planters. I've said that my business is kind of coming to an end. Endings are non-linear, so who's to say? Maybe I will continue this in the future, but I'm working on a few balls for what might be my last or one of my last pop-ups. So I just wanted to get the camera out, aka my phone, and just kind of go through the steps of what I do. I've already started, so everything's a mess, but that's how I do it. And I'm just gonna kind of take you through how I do it. Unfortunately, this is not super from the beginning because I already did step one a long time ago. But let's pretend like this ball doesn't have a hole in it. So, let me move all my stuff. The first thing that you're going to want to do, and look at that. Now this ball doesn't have a hole in it. The first thing that you're going to need is a ball, obviously. Basketballs like this, so ones that are actually used, are a little bit thicker, but if you go to like your sporting goods store or order something, the miniature balls, which are size 3, are very thin, so they're very easy to cut through and they're just rubber. I use those as well. So all you have to do for this step is find the pot that you want to use. This is a size 8, so this is 8 inches. For the smaller ones, I use the 6, and I just put it on top like so. I'll go ahead and trace around it with a marker. And then all you have to do is use an X-acto knife. Disclaimer, of course, be careful when you're using anything sharp. Once you make the first cut, it's pretty easy to just stay on line and kind of slowly pull it all the way around. Sometimes you do have to kind of, I guess, saw it down, but first step, easy to do, but because it's easy, that doesn't mean that you should rush it. Take your time doing this so that you get a nice clean cut all the way around. With that, your pot should sit right on top. I really like to use the pots that have this lip because it covers my hole entirely, which is what you want. You want things that cover your hole entirely. Anyway, after you've gotten your cut and your ball, we can just take that pot out of the way. Here's where you can figure out like what size, what things you want. The next thing that you're going to need is, I think these are called eyelets. So there's a difference between eyelets. Could be totally wrong. I'm gonna explain it the way I do it. Eyelets are these tiny little ones that you can find at hardware stores, things like that. And these ones that are a little bit bigger, if you can see there's a size difference, are grommets or grommets. And they come in a lot of different sizes. Since I said I'm kind of at the end of my run making these, I'm using everything that I have left over. So recycled ball, recycled grommets, recycled ball, leftover. This is the color that I never used. But They also have them in silver. I like to use silver because it matches another aspect of things that I use. We have this brass color, and then I also have some, oh, maybe they're all called eyelets, that are this like dark brass. So that's the next step, is putting holes in the thing, in the ball. When you buy one of these kits, now this is a Grommet. This is a Grommet kit that you can get at a hardware store. When you buy one of these, the instructions are on the back. I think this comes with maybe 10 to 12, 6 each. And for each ball, you're gonna use 4. So if you buy one of these, I think it's like 12 bucks to make 1 or 2 balls. That's fine. You can also buy them in bulk online. So there's instructions on the back, like I just said, that tells you exactly how to do it. Basically, you take, let's see, I have some here that I'm not going to use. But basically, you have 2 of these. One has a bigger hole and one has a longer opening. And they fit into each other like so, kind of like a spool. But what you want to do is cut the hole, again, using an X-acto knife, and you're going to put the one that has the shorter end in the inside, and then you're going to put the one that has the longer end on the outside. The hole that you cut should be big enough so that they just snap together, but that's not the end. After you have those snapped together between your fabric or between your ball, you're going to take a hammer. They will also provide you with something that looks like this and something that looks like this. And you're going to put those things in between. That one actually doesn't fit. Like I said, I have a bunch of these things. And they fit together like so. Remember, your ball is going to be right in between these 2 brass parts. And then you lay it on a flat surface, boop, you hit it with a hammer, and you're good. In the end, it will look like so. This is a really bad video, my bad. I thought I had more. So you're gonna do 4 of those, 2 on each side. I use these O-rings. They're like binder clips. If you want to buy only a few, you can look up binder clips and find them at your store, a store near you. Or if you want to order them online, I think they're also loose leaf binder rings. But this is what I use. I think they hold up pretty well because this isn't super, super heavy, or at least it shouldn't be something that's gonna be super heavy. So yeah, use that. Like I said, my other balls, the ones prior to like my recycled series, I use silver because the pieces that I use, or the grommets that I use, are, let me find one, also silver. So they match like really well, and I just think it looks nicer. For these ones, they're all recycled, so I don't really care. I'm just trying to use up the materials that I have and not buy new stuff just to make a few balls. All right, so that's that on that. Oh no. Anyway, all right, so there I am. For this ball, I decided to use this hole punch tool instead and use these tiny ones. So instead of putting it together with a hammer, I can use this little hole punch. All I'm going to do is find one of these things that I like. I'll hold this up. I'm gonna put it through the hole that I already made and kind of use this, because these holes are so small, as a way to measure where I want to put that next hole. I think I put that one a little bit too off to the side. You can mark it with a pen. I'm kind of lazy, so I push it in a little hard and then I mark it with my finger. And then I'm gonna take my hole puncher, put that where I think it's supposed to go, and give it a good squeeze. It leaves a tiny little puncture wound. And then I will take my X-acto knife and I will cut a little square. Squares are easier, but a little hole. And again, these balls are kind of thick. They have a few different layers. Rubber on the inside, and then a leather or some type of leather blend on the outside with some other stuff and glue that holds stuff together. So they're kind of hard to work with. I think that hole might be a little small, but let me just do a little circle. You always want things to be too small before they're too big. If they're too big, you can't go back. That's happened to me before in different cuts that I've made. But if you start out a little smaller than needed, you can always go bigger. Excuse me. When I bought this, it came with a whole pack of these things. So I'm just gonna grab one that I've already have out. Essentially, these are the exact same as the grommets that I showed before, but they're just a single little thing. Instead of putting two together, it's just one. And when this is put with this thing, let's see, it goes this way instead. Once you pinch the tool, it'll push this part down, which will flare out this part of the grommet, and that's what essentially secures it to the ball. Not essentially, it's what secures it to the ball. So I'm just gonna put it in the hole that I made, push it through. It already sits in there nicely. And then I'm gonna take my hole puncher. The flat side goes on the flat side. And, wait, come on. And you just give it a nice squeeze. And now it's on there. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that with the other side as well. Once you have your holes, you can take one of your binder rings and just put it in there. I would actually advise against using these tiny ones. They might be a bit more cost effective. I think I got this kit for $7 or $8, whereas this kit was probably closer to like $12. But even though this is cheaper, these things are so small that, number one, I think it looks kind of weird. It looks okay. I make everything look good. But it just gives it less room to kind of sit naturally. Once you put the chain on here, these kind of pop out in a way that I, again, find not super natural. Whereas with even using a slightly bigger grommet, this thing is able to move a little bit freely. And because of that, I think it just is comfortable for the ball, and looks a little bit better in my opinion. But again, I'm using what I have, and if you have this kind of stuff laying around, if you maybe bought one of these to put more holes in your belt, or if you want to get a 2-for-1 and make a basketball planter and then put some more holes in your belt, this is a great tool. And it's easier actually to use than relying on using an X-acto knife or pulling out your hammer to use one of these kits. So kind of up to you. It works either way, but that's kind of a decision you're gonna have to make if you are interested in doing this for yourself. When I do it with these tiny ones, I like for the thicker part of my binder ring to be on the inside, to not really be visible to whoever's looking from the outside. These are also a bit more difficult because you have to put the loop in exactly where it is. This barely fits in the holes, so you have to maybe measure a bit more. Again, I like to eyeball things, but just kind of take that how you will if you are going to move forward and make one of these things. Anyway, I have both of these done, kind of prepped with the binder rings that I want to use on them. So the next thing is adding the chain. I have more of these that I've made, so I opted to buy chain in bulk. They also have actual chain, so metal chain at the store. If you want to do that, that just requires maybe some pliers. I like to use the plastic chain because I think it's cool looking. It's really easy to cut and it's easy to use. Darn, I lost my position. Okay. Let me find this. So, there's the end of my chain. Again, you could just pick this up at a hardware store. Or online if you want a specific color. When you're at the store, you can buy only, 4 feet of it, 3 feet of it, if you just want to make one. But again, if you want to buy in bulk, it'll be cheaper in the long run. But if you don't need a bunch of chain, obviously don't buy a bunch of chain. So, all I'm going to do is take my chain. This is why I like the binder rings as well, because you can just pull it apart, put the chain in, and then loop it back together, and that's secured. And then again, I just like to eyeball everything. So that looks about right. I'm going to take some wire cutters, I think, bolt cutters. This tool that I had in my garage, and snip it. You don't want to use this piece, obviously it's broken. And then as I pull the chain up, I just kind of want to make sure that it's not twisted in any way. And then I'm just going to go ahead and secure it right there. And that's it. Pop that right back in there. You have your basketball planter. Super cute. To take things a step further, or to make things a bit more secure, I do like to just take some super glue and reopen this. I'll put a little dab of glue in there, seal it back together, and kind of hold it to make sure it sticks. I'll also do that with the inside. So there are two sides to this piece, right? I'll put some glue right here, close it, let it dry for a bit, and then I'll also just put some glue like in this area to make sure. I actually don't know if it does anything. It gives me peace of mind that there's something that's bonding this a bit more than just this tiny little metal clasp. And that's it. That's what I do. Put it in there. It'll hang nicely. Boop. I'll go ahead and do this other one too. I'll glue it later. That's not for camera. I know you can't see what I'm doing. I just took my chain, popped it onto here. When you buy these binder rings, hopefully when you buy them in smaller packs, they're better. Because sometimes when you buy them in bulk, you'll find that some of them are a little like mismatched. I like to try to find the ones where I can kind of tug on them to make sure that they can withstand a little bit of pressure, a little bit of force. Like that one just popped right open. I won't be using that one. This one is doing well, so I'm gonna go ahead and use that. Pop it in there. And again, that's why I glue them as well, just to give me some peace of mind. That seems to be a good length for me. Go ahead and pop it open. I actually might change this one out, but for video purposes, there you go. I only have one pot available, so we'll test it out. Super cute. Yay. All right, and those are the two that I'm working on today. I'm gonna go ahead and glue them the way that I said that you should, if you so choose. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. I like to make these. It's fun, but it's not something that I think only I should be doing. If you have a leftover ball, a lot of these balls I got from either a local rec center or from the high school that was discarding them. So if you acquire some basketballs, or if you just have one sitting in your room, sitting in the backyard that you want to repurpose, this is a pretty quick and easy craft that you can do. So again, let me know if you have any questions about this. Happy to answer. And thanks for watching my video. Hello again. As a little bonus, and because I have the camera out, which is my phone, which I feel comfortable recording on at this moment, I wanted to show a few more projects that I'm working on. I'm a little scatterbrained and I like to hop from multiple things. I like to fill my time with doing a lot of different things at once. So I will be back to clean this up definitely before my partner gets home. Oh, what time is it? Definitely before she gets home. But I'm also in the middle of painting this. I'm not gonna lift it up because it's still drying. This heart, eventually it's going to be a backboard. So I'm going to take a mini basketball hoop and drill it on there. It's gonna look really cute. I'm excited about it, if you couldn't tell by my voice. And then I'm also working on candle. I've been making a few, and then I also put some in here. This is an ice cube tray. Again, will be cleaned up before anyone comes home. But this ice cube tray was sitting without ice cubes and I had extra wax. So I just thought, hey, let me put some wax in there. And I'm gonna wash it before I use it, okay? But the mold that I have, also have this because I made these. We have this box of yarn that we were gifted, blah, blah, blah. This is what will come out of that mold that's being done. So I only have one mold, so I tried to do one candle a day or every other day, up until I have this next event. So yeah, that's what I've been working on. Thanks for sticking around. And we'll talk to you later.